Hey everybody, it's Christy Simonselli here. I just wanted to pop in since today is our auspicious movement of Neptune into Aries day. I've been wanting to make this video for the past few days. I keep getting sidelined by myself, by the energy of the world, and all the things that are going on. So bear in mind that these massive transitions that are coming our way are not isolated, they are not random, they are things that are happening and will continue to cause the upheaval that we're feeling and seeing in the world. Neptune moved into Aries around lunchtime on Monday, January 26th, which is the day that I'm recording this. I had spent the morning, part of the morning outside with my dog, shoveling, feeding the birds, doing all the things. I was up to my knees in snow, and I come in, take a shower, I was getting ready for a Zoom call I had, and I got a headache right around the time that this movement happened. And I'm not blaming Neptune, but Aries does rule the head. And Neptune is making a pretty pronounced movement. I am an Aries sun, so if anyone's going to feel that, it's going to be me. So I'm not saying that Neptune will bring us pain, but it will certainly teach us a thing or two, and there will be some transition that occurs as a result. So this Neptune movement into Aries is today in February, just before Valentine's Day. Saturn's going to follow suit and move into Aries as well. On the 20th of February, these two planets will come together and conjunct, fancy word for astrology speak, that they're going to be right next to each other. And this is a moment. We haven't had a conjunction, an exact conjunction of these two planets since 1989. And it hasn't been in Aries or at this sign in like thousands of years, at this degree, going all the way back in time. And so it's kind of a momentous occasion. It's definitely a momentous occasion. This first movement of Neptune into Aries. Neptune just stuck his toe into Aries last year in spring. So you may have already had a little bit of feeling around this. Neptune's very mystical, magical, dreamy, intuitive, rules things like film and photography and art, but also things like confusion and and spirituality and yoga and things that are more esoteric. And so it's been in Pisces, which is just fits lovely with all of that Neptunian energy, and now it's moving into a fire sign. So there's a call forward to be a lot more actually dramatic, bold, initiating, think after you've already done the thing, ask for permission rather than forgiveness, kind of a movement, as you may have seen. Neptune is the idealist. It wants love, it wants peace, and all of those things. And so in Aries, it's going to fight for those things. When Aries and Saturn get together, we're going to be asked to dream a new dream. And for some people, that's going to feel good. Like, yes, I'm done sort of sitting on the sidelines. I'm ready to jump in with both feet. For some of us, people who maybe aren't into change, most of us are going to feel like, must I? Do I have to do this? And yeah, you kind of do. So the fact that these two things are happening together, this is not a coincidence that we're living through these times, troubling as they may be. We all need to, infuse more. Neptune is more spirit, more love into our leadership, into the way we're going to work and show up in the world. And I know this is going to have a lot to do with breaking down old structures and patterns that have long stood. And I don't think it's going to be immediate, but I think there is going to be a time where we can no longer vote for hate. There will be no room for that in our society. I'm very hopeful about that. And it might take the rest of my life. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but I do feel like that's where we're moving as a society. And when I think about this in the lens of human design, where does this conjunction take place? So, human design, if you're not familiar, is this magical system that incorporates astrology but other tools in it. And when we look at the transits, you don't get as much predictive ability with the human design piece, but you do get a concept of what gate is this in? What is the flavor of this conjunction? And interestingly, this lands in gate 25, which, depending on what software you use or where you look at it, 25 is the gate of innocence. And so it's interesting that this is where this conjunction is happening because that's the energy of the warrior, the energy of someone who is not just a warrior, but more of a warrior for compassion and faith in the face of adversity and staying strong no matter what is thrown at us. And it's in a line three, so every gate moves through cycles and spends time, and I won't complicate things and confuse you with the fine points, but the three line is a trial and error energy. And so people who have a strong three in their chart or a signature like that, these are people who that's how they learn. We're going to move through this process. And I just think there's something so interesting that this signature kicks us off for this next big many year cycle of Neptune and Saturn. Saturn's going to move out of Aries eventually, but that flavor stays with us and creates like a generational energy, if you will, in the gate of innocence. The energy to maintain faith in the face of adversity, to be deeply compassionate, to trust that there's a plan and a process. And I can't talk about this without sort of thinking about in this moment. I think I'm going to get emotional as I talk about this. In this moment where I live in Buffalo, New York, we've been going through a lot as a community. The country, the world is going through tons. I do not mean to diminish the things that are happening in the world, but for my Buffalo people, wherever you may be, whether you're in Buffalo or elsewhere, the poster child for this moment of Saturn and Neptune coming to conjunct in the sign of Aries at 0 degrees in gate 25 is our former coach, Sean McDermott from the Buffalo Bills, who recently was let go from his position after 9 years in that role. I'm getting like warm as I talk about this. Everybody loves this guy. The whole community is struggling with his dismissal. We also love Josh. We love the Bills. We love all these things, and it's so much a pattern of our community. But our Sean McDermott, and I'll show you the chart, his son, not his child, but his sun sign in his astrology chart is at 0 degrees of Aries. So I knew this was coming. I didn't know what it would look like. It could be so many things. You know, this is the warrior of compassion. He's here to trust the process, which is all he's ever been talking about since he showed up in Buffalo, several years ago. And I just think it's fascinating that this now is this conjunction to dream a new dream lands in this man's chart on his sun, which is his identity self. So there's just something really kind of fascinating about that. And even just in the last week, since we've become aware of this information about his dismissal, he's maintained such integrity. He has maintained faith that this is part of the plan and the process, which is so gate 25 energy, which is where his personality sun sits. And so if I've lost you in the fine points, just know that we all have a personality sun. It makes up about 70% of the energy in our chart that's organic to us. And our friend Sean has his sun there. So Saturn has come to sit there. It will sit there in February and will come back a few times throughout the year. And it's going to ask him to slow down and take time and decide, is this what you want? Are you sure? Can you be serious? Can you decide what's next for you? Neptune standing in at the same time, which Neptune is now officially moved into that zone for him. It's going to dissolve things. Neptune comes in and it just dissolves and it infuses with faith and spirit and passion and love and great love. And I have witnessed just so much outpouring of love for this gentleman, who really is just a really good guy. And just a really good guy. I know our family's been struggling with his loss. Friends of mine, I had a friend who actually ran into him out in the community and just started to cry and offered him a hug. And he was very gracious and just really lovely, lovely individual. So Coach McDermott is being asked to dream a new dream, whether of his own making or not. These two planets coming together, breaking down walls, breaking down barriers that may have held him back in some way. I can't help but think that maybe this will ultimately be a really good thing for him, right? Um, would love to see him stay, but that's neither here nor there. The other thing I have to say about Coach McDermott is that he is a reflector, which, if you know human design at all, is the most rare energy type. Now, I don't know that for sure because I don't know what time he was born, but I'm pretty good at discerning the things he's just been going through and the things that, if you look back in time at when he got hired and all the things, you can kind of get a sense of where he sits on the chart. I'm about 95% sure the man is a reflector. Reflectors are profoundly sensitive to their environment. And when he came here to Buffalo, he said, we got to clean up, we got to clean up, we got to trust the process, we got to get good quality players on the roster. We need to move forward with character players, and it created a family, like a real unit in this team, which I think is why it's been so hard to see him go. Um, think of a reflector like a canary in a coal mine, if you will. So if the feeling is bad there, they're going to want to clean it up. Um, so bringing that integrity to that process feels really important for Sean, and he did that, and he created a beautiful team of people who are high quality players, character people, people who want to contribute in the community and are just good, and they've built their own family, and that's what a reflector will do if left to their own devices. They need a lot of time though with things. They need a lot of space and diversity and fluidity in their lives, and they're going to be highly subjective to the people that are around them. So it's going to be really important for them to be in their integrity and feel like they're in the right spot. So if he's not, if any reflector is not, they're going to feel out of sorts. And so the goal always with a reflector is using them as a litmus test. Are they happy? If they're happy, everything's okay. If they're not happy, things are not okay. And so if you are a reflector, or you have someone on your team or in your family who's a reflector, let their really special gifts be something you tap into, because it's a really critical piece of what makes them so special. It's literally only 1% of the population who is a reflector. So I have hundreds of giant client charts in my roster, and I probably have seven maybe that are reflectors. And every time I see one, I'm like, ooh, I've I've been speculating about this for a long time, just because I know how he came into Buffalo and what he wanted to do in order to clean up the team and get things going. Created a family, and then adding this gate 25 energy into it. His life path has a lot to do with staying open-hearted in the face of adversity. And so I wish him all the best. And if you're a reflector, please let your feelings about your environment be your guide as to what sort of space you're in, where you need to be in. Um, yeah. So I will leave that with you, just a little blip about that. February 20th is when Saturn and Neptune will conjunct officially. It's in the middle of eclipse season. It's Mercury retrograde starts right after this. So February is going to be sort of this like wild energy month. But there's something in that new cycle being started in this gate of innocence where we're all going to be asked to kind of follow suit with Coach and stay strong in the face of adversity. Keep our faith in unexpected times, if that makes sense. And I hope that that message finds you well, and that you can use that for good. All of us have 0 degrees of Aries somewhere in our chart. Whatever house that's in for you, and this is where it gets complicated. If you don't know any of this stuff, you shoot me a note. I'd love to work with you to help you find that. There's going to be something starting over, something that gets a reboot, something that gets a chance to come at, this with a new set of eyes, if you will. For me, that's in my 10th house of career. Today is the first day that Aries is experiencing Neptune in it for me for a bit. And here I'm making this video, which normally I just make really quick videos where I write long stories that no one wants to read. So I decided I'm going to bring my long story to a video. Maybe y'all watch it, maybe you won't, but that's okay, because I really needed to get this message out. We are in transitional times that feel heavy. I keep thinking that we just have to stay true to ourselves in the face of the massive amounts of adversity that we're facing in the world right now. And I wish all the best to Coach. So, yeah, thanks for listening.